All right, time is here, and I see there is a lot of people joining a bit late, but welcome to this webinar from CRIBWISE. The theme here is how to balance your tooling inventory to increase productivity and profit. My name, speaking right now, is Joakim Johansson. I'm head of CRIBWISE. Together with me today, I have Patrik Grönman, who is Research and Development Manager for CRIBWISE, and we have a guest speaker as well. His name is Daniel Wedlum, and he will introduce himself when it's time to speak. Before we start, all questions will be posted in the Q&A section, and you will all be muted. The webinar will be recorded. And since this is a webinar, safety first. I hope everyone knows where to go in case of an emergency. And we have nothing planned, and we will not talk more about that. So it's up to each and everyone to make sure you are safe. What we will talk about today, it's like I said, we are seeing that we're going from just in time to just in case when it comes to stocking of tooling. We'll also talk why it's important to balance the right tooling inventory and how we can do it. How digital solution can help you doing that. We will also talk a bit of the CRIBWISE stock optimization and the amazing role of data science in manufacturing, and that's why we have invited Daniel, who is a professional in the area of data science, and a bit about where we will go and give you some inspiration for the topic. We will sum up with some conclusions at the end, but as I said, we have a tight agenda. We only have 30 minutes, so please post all your questions in the Q&A section, and we will answer them after the webinar. So what we have seen here now is we're going from just in time to just in case. And when it comes to managing tooling inventory, the machine shops must walk into some kind of a dilemma. Following the disruptions in the global supply chain caused by, first of all, we had the pandemic with COVID-19, and now we have also seen the conflict in Ukraine, and that leads us into owners and managers of machine shops might find it tempting to keep larger stocks of tooling, and they might overvise a need. After all, they rely on tools and equipment to get their jobs done. And when these tools are not available, it can have significant impact on their business. This is what we call then the move from just in time to just in case when it comes to stocking. And however, this can have a significant impact for efficiency and profitability of each machine shop. And the fear then, tooling stock out, when it applies, it basically is that, the particular tools that is needed to produce parts is not available. And the stockouts can happen for a variety of reasons, but, disruption of the supply chain is one, unexpected demand and poor inventory management could also be the thing. But anyhow, whatever and whenever this happens, it can be quite devastating for the shop floor and for the manufacturer as such. Stockout then can produce or cause production to grind to a halt until necessary tools can be restocked. It can also lead to delays in the manufacturing operation, and by doing that, it can lead into deadlines are missed, they lose revenue, and it will be frustration for the customers. If a machine shop need to replace the tool from a different supplier. They need to pay maybe for expedited shipping. Tooling stock out can also increase cost by other meaning. If necessary, tools is eventually restocked. These added costs can have a negative impact on the bottom line for the customer that are producing the tools. Also, when tools are not available, operators might have to use a suboptimal tool for the task they still need to finalize, which also again it needs to reschedule the production because they might not be as quick as they have initially planned, and so on. And finally, tooling stockouts can be damaging the morale of operators. Since everyone would like to be good and contribute, but if they have to do other topics and run their machine, it can actually, in the worst case scenario, lead into that they will skip to go to work, or they will look for other work. Now we will hand over to Patrick, who will talk a bit about solutions for how we can optimize this and secure your supply chain in tooling. Patrick.
Thank you, Joachim. As Joachim mentioned in the beginning, I'm Research and Development Manager for CRIBWISE. I will jump into the next one then and talk a little bit about the problem with overstocking. I mean, due to the fear of stockouts, it can be highly tempting to overstock and holding more stock than you actually need. However, this can easily turn into another problem, like inventories are out of control. Firstly, and most obviously, the overstocking can increase cost of tooling, MRO, or PPE in basics spending more than needed. Secondly, a big amount of time can be spent on actually managing the tool inventory. Tools that are inventoried need to be ordered, they need to be stored, they need to be picked, relocated, inventory. With holding a larger inventory, the amount of administrative work increases as the transactions is needed to keep control of what's available. If that time are not invested to keep control of the inventory, this can lead to disorganized working processes, like operators making sure they have what they believe they need at the machine. Unnecessary panic orders, maybe even safety risk at and around the machines due to large pile of tools. Jump into the next one. Cost of inventory in general can be difficult to quantify accurately. In general, formulas for success to measure cost of inventory can be inventory turnover or inventory holding period. For direct material like parts included in a product you build and sell, this is a measure that fits good. But for indirect material like tooling and MRO, this is a bit more complicated, as tooling and MRO acts more like assets with longer life cycle, but still eventually consumed. To get on top of inventories, owners, managers of machine shops will have to evaluate all of the process they have in place for ordering, organizing, dispensing of items. Some shops maybe employ people solely for this purpose, while in other shops this might be a shared responsibility. Regardless, these professionals will need to know the shop's inventory inside out. While having control, they need to consider the two objectives: maintaining low stock levels while still ensuring that the items never go out of stock. For smaller shops producing limited number of parts, this might be relatively straightforward to carry out, while for larger shops producing a wide variety of products, this might be highly complex. Even the most experienced staff can misjudge stock levels from time to time, and as we have seen, such mistakes can become costly if the jobs are delayed. As such, machine shops are increasingly turning into cloud-based softwares to manage inventories of tools, as well as MRO assets and personal protective equipment. These intuitive, proven cloud solutions like CRIBWISE are affordable, even for the smallest and specialized machine shops. The benefits associated with inventory management softwares are numerous. It tracks tools from their point of order to the destination at the shop floor, and in basics, slashing out administration costs. It gives the machine shops a better control over expenditure. It guarantees that the right tool for the right job will arrive when needed, making production delays things in the past. AI-driven technology for optimization. CRIBWISE as such are by its nature already cutting out administrative process in the ordering, storage, picking, and the usage of tooling. On top of that, we also have the Stock Optimizer, which is an AI-driven feature to review and propose updating order parameters. Our Stock Optimizer aims to even further cut the administrative work of optimize and balance the stock levels. The target for us is to be equal or better than most experienced professionals, but with a fraction of time invested comparing with doing this manually every quarter. I think Daniel will later also continue on the AI theme and how this will impact the future of manufacturing. But CRIBWISE Stock Optimizer already is cutting out administrative workload. The optimizer uses already advanced algorithms based on consumption and purchasing patterns to propose an update of stock parameters. In basics, the input for the optimizer needed is training period, the service level, safety stock, and the ordering frequency. For instance, for the training period, how long time in the past should we look on? For service level, what percentage level would you like to have as an availability? Meaning if you set 98% service level, the optimizer will propose parameters that will be targeted that the item is available 98 out of 100 days. You could consider safety stock or not. When you are considering safety stock, this will also balance up the gap of delivery lead time and consumption pattern inconsistencies. Meaning you may be in a purchase scenario buying frequently with 1 day lead time, while all of a sudden it comes a 10-day lead time order. Order frequency are of course also important parameters, as if you're, for instance, placing orders with a high frequency, the optimizer will propose a lower stock. In the end, for the stock optimizer, it will be up to the professional that manages the stock to accept, adjust, or ignore the suggested parameters. And the CRIBWISE stock optimizer is available today and is as an add-on and can be activated by a reseller. Don't just make things happen. Tying back to the previous slide on digitalization, for CRIBWISE, we're already active as a cloud-based software and have since long time been delivering value to a constantly growing customer base. One example of highly valued customer and partner is Forbo Mekaniska, that has been operating in Fagersta since 1988. They have, during our partnership the past 5 years, grown greatly, and they are now up to over 100 machines with further high growth ambitions. When the work was started to implement CRIBWISE, they were having a tool inventory of $700 to $1,000. That was at the time close to 10% of the complete yearly turnover for the company. Around 2,000 operator hours were spent on searching for tools. Further, huge amount of time were spent on administrating the inventory, ordering tools, receiving tools, storing and performing the inventory. Implement CRIBWISE and placing storage solution close to machining cells has helped to slash out the amount of time Forba Mekaniska's operators spend looking for and searching for tools. CRIBWISE now orders Forba Mekaniska's stock items automatically when they are needed, meaning that the time-consuming task of raising purchase order for tools no longer needs to be carried out manually. The receiving of these parts are also now automated with simplifications as results. Further, Forba Mekaniska is making use of our Monitor D5 purchase order integration to match purchase orders and supplier invoices automatically. Running our stock optimization feature and using reporting for further problem solving. The structured approach from CRIBWISE as a cloud-based inventory and tool management system have helped the company to remove over 1,700 items from 20 suppliers. The use of CRIBWISE have also reduced the inventory by 700,000 to 1 million SEK, reduced the consumption of tools, and simplified the return and picking operations. CRIBWISE are continuously improving, and we are eager to help our customers to save cost and become even more efficient. And I think that concludes this session. I would like to hand over to our dear guest speaker, Daniel Wedlund.
Hey, let's see. Taking control of the slides and jumping ahead. Okay, hi. So I'm Daniel Wedlund, and for the last 2 years, I've been busy starting up and working for my own company, Mountain. And before my decision to start my own business, I worked within the Sandvik Group for quite some time, dealing with work related to data science, machine learning, and algorithm development. I've had the opportunity to work with Joachim and Patrick previously, and when Joachim reached out asking for a short inspirational session about AI, I just had to say yes. So thank you, CRIBWISE, for inviting me and letting me talk a bit on the topic of data science and AI today. So if you have not been living under a rock for the most recent years or have been too occupied on the shop floor making real products, you probably have heard of AI, and in particular, the most recent year, ChatGPT. But AI as a field of research is nothing new. It dates back to the early 50s. And since the underlying math and optimization techniques that is being used has not changed drastically, there's the question why we're seeing the big changes and why the wave of AI and machine learning is kicking in now. Some of the key changes that we have seen and improvements that make AI much more viable option today is that our compute power has increased greatly, our storage and memory availability as well, the access to data, as well as how we can share data and the wide availability of connectivity. That's what driving AI in the forefront. So to stay on a meaningful path, we need to not only know our current position and the direction. Being able to look back helps us validate that the future path laying ahead of us is a feasible path. And it helps us in making great learning from our past to apply to our current problems. Traditionally, in the manufacturing industry, we've made use of computers quite a lot. Everything from CNC machines to the whole setup in computer-aided engineering with CAD, CAM, as well as all the quality controls that we're doing. Where we have tools such as computer vision and image analysis helping us to make robots more autonomous and being able to tackle more difficult problems, or using computational resources to quicker and better do quality controls, into like being able to digitally connect our business from early stages on making competitive offers for manufacturing contracts all the way to the customer signing off on a produced part, component, or product. So in the context of managing our inventory stock, we have traditionally been pretty good at applying different heuristics on when, why, and how we perform our orders and our restocking. And to give some outlook on some potential use cases for AI in the future, I imagine that we can probably let advanced models analyze our historical data, things that Patrick mentioned, that we can look at our current usage patterns and production schedules and use that to predict our future tool requirements. These AI models can help in optimizing inventory levels and ensuring that the right tools are available when needed without excessive overstocking, and also beginning to take into account our geographical setup as well, where we have the need to have the right tool at the right place in the right time. One of the key areas where you've heard of ChatGPT lies on improvements in conversational AI. And what if we would imagine allowing an AI, somewhat guided, of course, with safety measures in place, to be integrated in the procurement systems, have it to communicate or draft communications to suppliers, automatically requesting quotes and negotiating terms for us. Since large language models today have the ability to contain a great deal of context and memory, this is not too far away in the future. And the ability to fuse together unstructured data and information in multidisciplinary fields allows for expanding the boundaries of what our software can do. What if you had a normal conversation with a tool crib, for instance, when considering replacement tools, when trying to learn and understand something better? So in this slide, in the right side of it, I just grabbed one section where I asked ChatGPT on what are the different parameters that I should take into consideration if I'm about to replace a milling cutter with a different milling cutter. And with my background, I could think of a few of those right on the top of my head. But ChatGPT came with some suggestions that I didn't have close in mind. So even though AI today is not specifically trained for the manufacturing industry, it's doing a not so terrible job at this anyways. And the other extract in the middle of the slide is an example where I asked it to generate a basic template or form for requesting a quote. So this is just a very basic example, but it shows that it's getting somewhere. So conversations and actions, where we today are able to more quickly and automatically act on changes of the world around us. We will be able to do this even more efficient without having to do as much of the boring work as before. So one example is in my line of work, much of the conversation in the teams happens in the form of chats or lengthy chains of emails. Already today in the chat application, we can tap into built-in AI robots, helping us to summarize what we have been discussing. So when we have been chatting for a couple of hours, we can ask the AI to summarize what were our conclusions, what were the actions, and we get a nicely digestible list of what we should do. So what if we are able to use this to capture more knowledge about what is actually going on in the shop floor? Why one operator chooses a certain strategy over another, or why another operator does something completely different? Can this potentially be one of many puzzle pieces to help out in renewing the workforce and reduce the risk of losing all the years of machining and manufacturing experience that our aging workforce is taking with them into retirement? So finally, some of the, like, let's see, switch there. Okay. So one interesting area for the future is expanding on prompt engineering. It's important for us to know how we pose our questions the right way to get the best results from the AI. Another interesting area is where you let the AI generate application database queries, where the AI can use its understanding of database queries and its abstract understanding of the human user queries in combination with context understanding. That way, a software that is designed to do a specific thing can begin to do more. And thirdly, when working with the large language models like ChatGPT, we should always remember that it is a conversation. If you find something wrong or unclear or parts that are extra interesting, you can continue to ask for details or clarifications or corrections on those parts and collaborate with the AI. So with this very quick overview and inspirational session, I hope you learned something new. I hope you understand that where AI is today is so much further than what the annoying old office assistant Clippy did. And that maybe AI now has graduated from just being good at generating images to put in your presentation slides. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Daniel, and nice to see you again. And thanks everyone for joining this webinar. What will be in CRIBWISE tomorrow and for the future in terms of AI, we don't really know. We don't really know where AI is driving us today, but for sure we will take advantage of this and implement it wherever it makes sense. We have some ideas, but we'll see where the journey will take us. If you have any questions or would like to discuss something, post something in the Q&A session that will be open for a while. Else, reach out to myself or to Patrick. You know where to find us. And we wish you all a great day or a nice evening wherever you are located in the world, and hope to see you soon again.